love you. Not what you were expecting, right? But I mean it as I say it. I love you. Not you, the audience. I mean you, and you, and you, each of you individually. I love you. You are beautiful. You are remarkable. You are of immense worth. Of course, I love you. By now, there's a chance I'm making you a little uncomfortable. Those are words you're used to hearing from a spouse or from your family, perhaps from a close friend, but certainly not from a stranger, much less a buttoned-up 30-something former tax attorney from Georgia. But here I am in the flesh saying it again to you. I love you. In a sense, it's my job to love you. I am a professional philanthropist, and that word, philanthropist, comes from two words in ancient Greek. Philia, meaning love, and anthropos, meaning human or humanity. But I don't love you because it's my job. I love you because of my values, values that I have inherited from a man who I know loved me very much. This man. This is Daddy Rae, or at least that's what I called him. He was my grandfather. Others would call him Ray or Mr. Anderson. And Ray was the founder of Interface Inc., the world's largest carpet tile manufacturing company. And in 1994, when Ray was 60 years old, he read a book. The book was called The Ecology of Commerce. And the book charged business and industry, companies just like Ray's, as the culprit for the vast majority of environmental degradation that our society is witnessing. But the book also said that business and industry is the only sector large enough, well enough organized, well enough capitalized to lead us out of this mess. For Ray, reading this book was an emotional experience. He went on to call it his spear in the chest moment when he was convicted as a plunderer of the earth. And he spent the last 17 years of his life trying to make his company as environmentally sustainable as possible. Now, in doing so, he changed the culture at Interface, and he had his entire company working with him to show what would be a new way of doing business. And they proved that when done right, environmental sustainability can be very good for business. They saved hundreds of millions of dollars compared to the old way that they did their business, all while pursuing the goal of having a manufacturing company with zero waste, powered entirely by renewable energy, with completely benign emissions and a closed-loop manufacturing process, such that old carpet can be recycled and turned into new carpet with no waste lost in the system. The company continues that climb because of the work of my grandfather. But for Ray, it wasn't just about a better way of doing business. For him, environmental sustainability was a moral imperative. It was an act of love. Love not just for all of us, everyone on the planet today, but really love for the generations of people who have yet to come to planet Earth. People who will be just as dependent upon healthy, functioning, natural systems as we are today. This is the legacy I have inherited. And I am so very honored that I get to do the work of advancing that legacy right along with my family at the Ray C. Anderson Foundation. It is fulfilling, and we are so very proud of what we have accomplished. But we have more work to do, and recently we've been considering what difference can we make on what we consider the most pressing challenge facing humanity, the issue of climate change. And in learning all that I possibly can about climate change over the last couple of years, I've noticed a trend in how it is commonly described in society. We see lots of phrases like these. Take action now to fight climate change. We can win the war on warming. We are under attack from climate change. How to defeat climate change. Solving climate change will be like mobilizing for war. Sounds kind of violent. It got me thinking, what other social causes that we care about, that we work on, are similarly described in such militaristic terms? The failed war on drugs. Join the battle for net neutrality. End the war on women. Immunotherapy is the newest weapon in the fight against cancer. #resist. Mobilize against malaria. The war on Christmas. Now, to be very clear, I am not casting judgment on any of these causes. I would love to see a cure for cancer developed, and women everywhere deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, and fairness, always. What I am trying to point out is that this language has become so very common. If you turn on the news, if you follow social media, heck, if you just have a conversation, you've probably heard this. And if I had to bet, you didn't even notice. We have become numb to this language, which I find unfortunate. Certainly, conflict, violence, that exists in our world, but certainly it is the worst aspect of what it is to be human, our capacity to harm one another. How sad then that this is the language that we've grown comfortable with. We can compare that to the first 3 words that I shared with you. Remember how unexpected that was? How uncomfortable that felt? And I would argue that our capacity to love is the best aspect of being human. The stories that I celebrate the most are the ones that talk of altruism, self-sacrifice, and generosity. This is what we teach our children. Isn't it what we should be striving for? Why then is this the language that feels uncomfortable? There's an alternative to fighting for the causes that we believe in. We can work on them. Work is fulfilling. It is uplifting. It is rewarding. In some cultures, work can be holy. When we fight for our causes, we encounter enemies. If we work towards them, we can encounter friends. Working on something invites others to join in, but warring over a cause draws a line in the sand between us and others. Ultimately, language matters. Whether or not a cause is a crusade or a collaboration, it depends on the language that we use. And I believe that collaborations create more and better change in our societies. So it is my hope that after hearing me today, you are sensitive to the language that you hear out in the world, that you're sensitive to the language that you use. I hope that phrases like the ones I've just shared with you leave you feeling uncomfortable, and that what does leave you feeling comfortable are words like these: dedication, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humility, caring, honesty, peaceful, tenderness, committed, devotion, work, decency, tolerance, considerate, sympathy, altruism, collaboration, self-sacrifice. And I hope that we can all agree, if there are any words that feel good and right and normal, they're these 3 words: I love you. Thank you.